All right. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody on the call today. Thank you for being with us. And I really hope that what I shared with you today would help you with your trading. Like I said earlier, we had Michael, who was a phenomenal educator, sharing what he had. Hopefully, you take advantage of that. There's going to be a lot of speakers today, tomorrow, Thursday. So take your time, figure out what's best for you, and definitely take advantage of them. Today, I am going to be doing something completely different than I've ever done, ever. In all my years, over 10 years of doing what I'm doing, I have never done what I'm going to be doing today. And so I encourage you guys to, listen in. I have an offer at the very end, which is, again, what I've never, ever done before. I think you'll find great value in what I'm going to be offering at the end. But before I give you the value so you can understand what you're getting into, I think it'll be good for me to just share a little bit about what I do and how I go about doing what I do. Okay. So, but again, please stay to the end because I'm going to be giving something I've never, ever done before. All right. All right. So let's get started. When I was contacted to say, hey, Wally, would you be interested to come and join us and share some thoughts on psychology, discipline, and time management? Anybody who really knows me knows that this to me is by far the most important aspect of trading. Okay. I was one of those guys who lost a lot of money in 2008. I wasn't actually involved in the stock market at that time. Long story short, I wanted to find out how to get involved in the stock market. So like how everybody started getting involved in the stock market because of the pandemic, mine was because of the 2008 financial crisis. The biggest thing I wanted to do was to make sure that I never had to depend on other people's opinion about the market. I wanted to see data and analyze those data myself and be able to make my own conclusion. All right. And that was my biggest thing. So I got involved in the stock market. It has some ups and downs and all along the way. But I think almost everything that everybody on this call has probably struggled with, I struggled with as well. The only thing I started realizing as time went on was that I realized that there are ways that we can keep our emotions in check. And I realized that most people don't talk about the psychological aspect of trading. And so this is the reason why you will see people literally take the same course. One would do well and one would not. And that's because a lot of it has to do with the psychological aspect and the discipline that it involves. So when I heard them, when I heard David Anka coming up and say, hey, we need to talk about the psychological aspect and discipline, I was like, yes, this is definitely within my alley. Okay. And so, needless to say, I went from a day trader to scalper to being more of a swing trader that focuses strictly on technical and quantitative analysis. I don't listen to news anymore because I realize that affects my psyche a lot. And I wanted to just rely on data. So, what I'm going to be showing you is how I go about doing that. So let's go ahead and get started. Here's my risk disclosure statement. Please understand everything I share here today is for educational purposes only. So let me start by saying this. I have a report that comes out every week. And in that report, I talk about what I see in the market based on data. And I share this because this is an excerpt of the report that we wrote back in 2020, right before the pandemic happened. So you can see, let me see, you can see it right here, where we said, because the market is in unison, we need to be ready for either slowdown at best or reversal at worst. The writing is already on the wall. It is time to take profits, exit our positions. Market is warning us to take heed. Now, again, all this happened before the pandemic happened, right? And I'm not one of those guys that are primer bearish who tells you, oh, the market is bearish for 7 years. And then when it finally happens, they see, I told you it was going to happen. I'm not one of those type of people because, again, you can literally see data that tells you what you need to be looking for, which is what I spent my career in the stock market learning. It's like, how can I tell when data is really telling us, yes, we're heading for a big drop before it actually happens? And so here was one of those examples where I use this and say, people don't realize that you could actually have found out that the market was actually going to be dropping before the pandemic. And then we also saw the bottom when it bottomed out in March of 2020. We saw that too as well. And we talked about that. But most recently, Here are excerpts of the report. Back in January of this year, you'll see the sections that are highlighted, same report, but now January 2022. I said, look, I know the earnings season is about to kick off. This is on January 14th, by the way, January 14th, that weekend of January 14th. I said, I know the MLK weekend is about to kick off, but there are some things that we're beginning to notice on the charts of the major indices that are beginning to become cause for alarm. And so because the data is still brand new, all we can say is that we need to start getting prepared for a bearish drop that can be significant, lasting for weeks, if not months. Ladies and gentlemen, I saw this in January. And people who follow me, people who are part of our community saw that too and say, hey, this is the first time, like we were not one of those that were saying, oh, market is bearish back in December last year, November, October, but in January. And if you go back and you look and see when this market really started dropping, it was in January. So in January, the middle of January, it's like, wait a second, we are beginning to see data that is telling us something is wrong. So much so that we wrote that down and says, the significant, it's going to be significant. Now, at the time, I always tell people, we don't know how bad it's going to get. But the funny thing, or not the funny thing, the interesting thing is you can see the data ahead of time. Okay. And so then now in February comes, and in February says, based on what has transpired with Friday's close, this was on February 11th, right before Valentine's, says that there is sufficient and mounting evidence that the markets are in trouble. So this is in February. And the signs of a bearish market is undeniable. Ladies and gentlemen, these are not statements that I'm making saying, oh, let's sit on the fence, maybe, maybe not. Right? These are like very strong, bold statements that we're making. It's like, it is undeniable. So first we started seeing it in January. So wait a second, we're seeing things in January that tells us that the market, just like we saw during the pandemic, just like we saw many, many times in the past. Now by February, it's like, look, the evidence is mounting. Something is not right in this market. This bearish market is undeniable. In March, people started wondering, is this not? Now, very interesting was that in January and February, a lot of people were saying that, oh, if the market goes down, it's because of the war in Russia. We didn't care about that because data is all we focused on. You would notice that most people are not talking about the war is what's affecting the market right now. Now it's, inflation, and it's the feds and all that kind of stuff. But this is where I say, look, where there's the feds, where there's inflation, where there's the war in China or war in Russia, where there's China, whatever it might be, the interesting thing is if we all learn to read the data and rely on data, or at least use data to supplement whatever it is that we know, it puts you on the right side of the market, which is why we call our company right side trading. And so you'll see here in March, it's look, for now, even though March seemed like a bullish month, the right side is still bearish until we see data that suggests otherwise. Okay. And then finally, in April, it says, in conclusion, this is all excerpt from our report. The bearishness in the market has gotten stronger, and the technical data is confirming we are without a question, technically, and I put technically in quotations because I'm using this from a technical analysis point of view. So it's not like a weasel clause or anything like that, but technically, from a technical analysis point of view, we are in a bearish market. And the reason why I put that in there, because a lot of people would say, well, the market has to drop 20% or it has to drop this much before you can officially declare. And I'm saying, look, say whatever you want to say, but the same data that we saw that caused markets to drop in 2008, the same data that we see that caused markets to drop during the .com, the same data that occurred even during the Great Depression is what we are beginning to see. We first started noticing that in January. And so that's what I'm saying. Look, we are technical, from a technical analysis point of view, this market is bearish, okay? And then here we are now towards the end of May, and we've seen what's happened, and it has not been good. The beauty of all this is that we were on the right side of this market for the most part of this, okay? So, Bitcoin. We also told people, because people say, well, is it possible to take technical analysis in the stocks and apply it to cryptocurrency? And I share this because now a lot of people are getting involved in cryptos, And I really, truly, honestly feel bad for a lot of people that lost so much in cryptocurrencies. Okay. And it's part of the reasons why I'm offering the things I'm going to be offering towards the end today. Now, back in January, we were literally sounding the alarm. Get out of cryptocurrencies. Nobody would listen to us back then. And so much so that I said, you know what? People are not even going to believe of what we're saying, that I said, look, the only way I could even prove to people that we see things and these things are telling us that something is going to happen is that let me go ahead and post a live video on YouTube. So if you go into our YouTube channel, you'll see that there. And in that video, I talked about how the warning signs are very serious. Stay away from Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. I said, because if what we're seeing happening to Bitcoin, the data that we're seeing is beginning to happen to Bitcoin, if it has a ripple effect across all cryptocurrencies, then we're looking at something really, really massive to the downside that's going to take place. I even went out to say, based on our analysis, to say, look, we don't see this coming back for at least 4 to 9 months. And I kid you not, I had people literally commenting, emailing us, texting us, saying, we don't know what we're talking about. Okay. Exactly, John. Thank you. John said, I heard some people took out mortgage loans to buy crypto. And I saw the same thing too, John. And I was telling people, I said, please stay away. And so I said, look, let me go ahead and put this video out here. Maybe that would help some people, but you know what? A lot of people dismissed it. I wish, I could even show you some of these text messages, the emails that we got. And people are like, you don't know nothing about cryptocurrency. You're not involved. Let me show you these people that I'm following on cryptocurrency and the news they're coming up with and how the feds are going to do this and how this country is changing. And I said, look, I understand all that, but please understand that, look, one thing that I've learned is that the charts do not lie. Just like in accounting, they say the numbers don't lie, charts do not lie. So I said, look, if this is really going to go higher, then we need to be able to see it on charts. But if somebody's telling you cryptos are going to go to 100,000, but the charts are going down, please take a second guess about that. I've seen people talk about companies like Neo and Lyft and all these different companies that they believe is going to do well, and they can tell you all the stories about why it should do well. But I'm looking at the charts, and the charts is going the opposite direction. And so this is where now people start telling you, hold on for 5 years, buy more if it goes down. And I said, you're making one of the biggest mistakes. In one of our podcasts, we talked about that. The biggest mistakes people make in bear market is like they are in denial. And part of that is because they don't know how to see the things that we've learned to see, which is the data. Okay. And so here we are now, 4 months later. All those people that were telling me in January that the market, cryptos are going to go to 100,000, they were buying the Shiba Inus, they were buying the Lunas, they were buying all this stuff. And I'm saying, I mean, this is literally what we said. If what we see, I mean, right here it says, we are taking this warning very seriously by staying away from buying any Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies at this stage. Here we are now, 4 months later, because we're in May, and everything we saw is now beginning to happen. Was this coincidence? I don't believe so. We've been doing this over and over and over and over and over. Not because we have any special talent, but we've learned to read the data. Does that make sense? So today, we're talking about what are the tools that we use to help us improve our trading discipline. I'm going to show you 2 tools that we use, okay, to help us with that. And then I'm going to talk about some more stuff. So the first one is our platform. Now, I know there's so many different platforms out there, and here's just another one. But let me just put it to you this way. Our platform has everything, all the studies that I have done manually, the indicators, technical analysis, candlestick analysis, all that kind of stuff is what we then took and put into the platform. So that now the algorithms can literally read this. And one of the biggest reasons why I did that was because I wanted to get away from the emotions. And what I mean by that is I wanted to get away from trying to convince myself that, oh, no, even though I see what the charts is telling me, maybe because of this news that I'm following, maybe I need to think otherwise, right? And so in this case, I said, nope. And because I don't have that much time, I'm not going to go into full details on how to use this platform, but let me just show you here. This is the platform here. And one of the biggest things that we've done is whenever this platform shows you a red background, you know it's bearish. Whenever it shows green, it's trying to get bullish. But more importantly, the biggest thing about this whole thing is that this section right here, the right model, this is where everything that we have as far as technical analysis, quantitative analysis, candlesticks analysis that we put together would come down in one word. And I put this together because I have a now 8-year-old and a 10-year-old. And I said, I want them to be able to learn how to trade and invest in the stock market. And one of the things is like, look, all they need to know is what this right model tells you, because it does all the analysis for us. So they don't have to be doing every single thing individually. It does it all. And then it tells you in words what you should be doing each day, each week, each month. Okay. So you will see right here, if I move my cursor, it will tell you whether you should be buying. So when the market was ready to rally up here, you'll see it says buy. Buy cover means that buy stocks to go long, cover your shorts because this market is ready to go higher, right? And then what it will do, it will let you know when it's still safe to buy, and as well as when it's already gone too far, so you're not chasing the stock. And it says, look, just wait or hold. And this wait or hold section just comes in where we've already calculated, like if the market moves a certain amount, it's too much to be chasing it now. It's either you wait for the next opportunity, or if you're already in, you hold on to your positions. But the one thing we don't have to be doing is guessing what should we do each and every day, because technical analysis, quantitative analysis, candlestick analysis is all there for us. All this software does, or this platform does, is like it takes all that information and tells you, based on all that, this is what you should be doing today. And we only wanted it to do a few things, which is tell us when to buy, tell us when to sell, tell us whether we should be doing anything at all. Should we be buying? Should we just sit on our hands? Should we not do anything at all? Or should we be placing stops in place? And I put some stops in the stock so that after the stock has gone up a certain period of time, how do we know when it's time to start placing stops? Those are kind of things that we wanted it to tell us. So you can see right here, when this was getting ready to roll over, somewhere right here, what did it say? Long stop, exit short. What that simply means is it's time to place stops on your long positions. That was right when this was ready to roll over. Okay. The weekly chart. I can show you this on the weekly chart too. Market going up. What you notice right here, after the market was going up, look at what it said right here when it started rolling over. Right when the first week it started rolling over back in January, notice what the right model says to your left. Get insured or get out. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the end of that week. That was the same week that I went in and I started writing about the report and say something is not right in this market. It's time to get out. And what it was telling us here was you need to either get insured or get out. And I said, look, there's not enough evidence just yet, but we do know something is not right with this market. And it was literally just one word, with the algorithm taking in all that information and letting us know. The very next week, it told us it was time to start shorting the market. Anybody who's done that would have seen that what we now experience, we were able to capture that as early as that weekend of January 14th. The very next week, boom, things are going down. Okay. I'm gonna show you one last picture here of the platform, which is the monthly chart. I'll show you this on the monthly chart. One of the things that we teach in our courses, we have a course where we teach people how to read candlestick analysis, but more importantly is the one candlestick signal that tells you a market is ready to drop, okay? One candlestick that tells you is like the most powerful candlestick signal that when that appears on a monthly chart, ladies and gentlemen, it's telling you be aware, something bad is about to happen. And that was another thing that we saw when this happened here, okay? When it happened in January here, when we saw that, it was like, oh my goodness, something has gone wrong. This is not good. It is not good. And that's why you saw it in all the reports that I wrote. I said something bad is happening. This is going to make the market roll over. Now you can see on this right-hand side that the trend has changed because this green background tells us market's still bullish. The red background tells us we're definitely bearish. And so even for my kids, they don't have to sit down there and wonder, is it bullish or bearish? It's color-coded. If it's red, the background is red, we know that things are not looking good. They know they should not be buying in this market. If it's green, they know it's time to buy. But we have to combine two things, and that is the red background with a sell signal or the green background with a buy signal. So a lot of people have been asking, oh, is it time to buy? Is it time to buy? And I said, well, on the monthly chart, everything is red. On the weekly chart, everything is still red. On the daily chart, everything is still red. Why would anybody be buying when everything is still bearish? Oh, I get it. Want to buy and hold for the long term. You're trying to buy the dip. Buying the dip is a strategy you use in a bullish market, not a bearish market. And so this is one of the greatest tools that we've created that helps us to try to take emotions out of this, because no matter what I say, no matter what I think, oh, the Feds are going to do this, maybe the market's going to go higher, I always say, let's go back and look and see what the platform is saying. And I can very easily see, I've seen people come up to me and say, hey, Tesla is going to go up. And I said, well, let's go take a look and see, because if it's still showing that it's red, thank you for that information, but I'll be watching to see whether the data supports that notion. Does that make sense? And that's kind of like what we are all about over here. Okay. So that's the first tool that we use. The second tool is this tracker. And this by far is, without question, the biggest tool that we use to help us stay away from emotional trading. Now, let me bring this tracker. This tracker right here is something that we created as well. Okay, we have a bullish version as well as a bearish version of this. This is the bearish version, which says short selling. One of the biggest things is all we have to do is type in. Let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger. Give me a second here. See if I can make this bigger so that you guys can see this. All right, so excuse me 1 second. I'm trying to get my mouse to work. Can you guys hold on 1 second? Let me see if I can do something here real quick. Excuse me for that. Just want to see if I can get this to work because it's not working. I would like to use my marker here, but for some reason it's not working well. Let's see. Okay. One of the things that we do in this tracker, and this is something that I actually share with my coaching students, here we go, is everything on this side right here. And there's a lot more detail that I would have to go into, but again, because of lack of time, I can't go into all that details right now. But again, through my invitation later on today, you'll see how you can get access to this. What this is, all we have to do is type in the ticker symbol. We enter the date that we bought it. We put in the price. We talk about and we teach you how to come up with quarterly goals. You put in your quarterly goals in there. In this case, this is a sample. This is 15%. And then we have different strategies. What is your strategy and why you got into the trade? And this is important because a lot of people will get into a trade and then 2 days later, a week later, 2 weeks later, they have no idea why they even bought that trade. Okay. And so I always put that in there because like you need to know what was the reason why you got into this trade. And so we teach a certain amount of strategies to follow. The sell signal is just based on what the platform is telling us. It's okay, the platform, I saw this on the platform gave me a sell signal on this stock on March 18. And so that's why we sold it. Okay, great. No problem. You got the sell signal March 18. All right. Then the next thing is, what is your expected duration? And so we talk about and teach people like, look, you have to have an idea of how long you think a stock is supposed to be able to move. Okay. And so you look at that too, and you put that in there. And then you say, what time frame are you trading off of? Because again, this is important to pay attention to what time frame you're dealing in. And so you put in all this information and then everything else is calculated for you. And one of the first things is it tells you what the current price is. Okay, and this is live, by the way. This is the current price of TQQQ. If you go on TQQQ right now, you'll see that it's $25.97. That's a live thing. And so it tells you what that is. And then what it does is it lets you know how long have you been in the trade. Okay, so if I'm saying I want to be in there 30 days, I'm already in there 67 days. The question is, why am I in there longer than what I expected? Now, it's okay if I'm making money. It's not okay if I'm not making money. So right now it's 67 because with where based on your quarterly goals that you set, based on that quarterly goals, what this tracker does for us, it lets us know where you should be currently. So if you bought this on March 18th and here you are today, you should be up on that stock 11%. So far, so good. It lets you know, say, look, if this is the trade that I got into on this day, and I'm looking for this percentage, each day I should be able to chip away, I should be able to have a certain percentage of that. And what ends up happening is right now that it's saying 11%, then you look at the next column and it tells you how much you really are making. And in this case, this stock is up 104%, right? So this is where and the reason why I created this was because I was one of those people where I bought a stock, I had my target one, target two, it hit the target one, target two, I sold it, saw the stock keep on soaring even higher, right? So here's a very great example of where, again, trying to take emotions out of it and having a plan that can allow me to let stocks run well and cut it off when things are not going well. And so in this case, if my goal was to make 15%, here we are now at 11%, that's where we're supposed to be, but we are at 104%. I would have probably sold this stock a long time ago at my 15% and be done with. But now I'm able to allow this to keep on running because things are still doing well. And how do I know when it's time to get out of the trade? Well, it's very simple. I know that it's time to get out of trade by two things. One is this section right here. Is the stock meeting my expectation? And is the stock overperforming or underperforming? That's the biggest thing I want to know. Okay, so you'll see here, anything in green, I color coded this again for my kids. Anything green, I know the stock is doing well. Don't touch it, let it grow. Once the stock starts struggling, you'll see it turn red or yellow. Any of those colors tells me, hey, you might want to go in there and manage this trade. Now, I can have literally up to 90 different stocks at any given time. Right now, there's 25 in here. I can go all the way down, come up with 80, 90 different stocks at any given time, and I can manage every single one of those positions without even looking at a chart. And what I like about this is I don't even need to know what the news is about any of this stock. I don't need to know the news on any of these stocks. I can just literally use data to manage everything I'm looking for. And so in this case, I can automatically see which stocks are doing well and which ones are not. All these in red and yellow tells me something is wrong. Every one of these in red tells me they're beginning to suffer. And so if I let these trades just keep on playing out because I'm hoping and wishing that this stock is going to come back, when the data is telling me, no, these stocks are not making money. It's almost like an employee, right? If I looked at this stock right here, let's take the worst one, LTHM. Okay, if I'm looking at that stock, this is a stock, an employee that is stealing from us, right? And I was like, well, let's wait and see if he's going to return the money. Let's see. No, you have to get rid of that stock. These are stocks that are hurting the portfolio, okay? And I can see this at a glance. I used to tell people, look, if you can memorize every single stock you have, you don't have enough stock or you don't have a real good plan, right? And so, like John said, why are you still holding the stocks in red? You should not. This is a sample. I left this up there because I wanted you guys to see that, look, if you do not sell, like all these in red should have been sold a long time ago. I totally 100% agree with you, John. 100% agree with you, John. You can literally come into this platform or this tracker every single day, and you can see which ones are going to be hurting your portfolios and which one should not. Does that make sense? And so anybody holding on to these stocks right here and not doing anything. I created this to help me solve that problem of analysis paralysis, holding on to stocks that are going to stay in there for too long, hoping that it's going to come back, like a lot of people are doing with these cryptocurrencies, right? Holding on to it, hoping that it's going to come back. And then next thing you know, you've blown your account. And so because I did not want to go through that process of having to blow my account, because I've done that 3 times in the past when I first started, I said, there's got to be ways where even if I take this and hand it to my wife should be able to go in there and say the exact same thing John just said. It's like an accountability kind of thing. My wife should be able to say the same thing John said. Why are you holding on to these reds? These reds are hurting your portfolio, Wally. Get out of them. Okay? I can show these to my kids, I kid you not, my 8-year-old and 10-year-old. And I say, look, any position that is in the red, get rid of them. See, the reason why I created that is because, again, before I had this, I'll be sitting there saying, well, I know it's down, but you know what? It's only down like 20, it's only down 1%, it's only down 1%. Let me hold on to it, right? But here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. So even though this stock is only down 1% here, it's actually worse. The reason why it's worse is, notice where we're supposed to be at this stage. We're supposed to be up 11%. If we said we wanted 15% and we've been in this trade since March, technically speaking, we should be up 11%. And so even though it's only showing 1%, it's not really hurting your portfolio, right? It seems like, 1% is not that bad. No, what the true effect is this negative 12%. And people don't pay attention to that, thinking, it's only 1%, I'll just see 1%. But then they come at the end of the quarter, the end of the year, and say, I made no money. Why? Because you've been letting these bad stocks take over. And you didn't cut those losses when you were supposed to, right? So even though, for instance, this stock right here is up 1.89%, the reason why I can be disciplined, which is what today's lesson is all about, the reason why I can be disciplined is because I can come here and say, okay, yes, it's still up 1.8%, but now that I have this red and yellow, what the true effect of this, because of how long I've been in this trade, I've been in this trade for 50 days, the true effect of this is it's actually more of like a 6.47% loss. Wally, what are you doing? Why are you in this trade? If I got rid of all these trades, it can improve my overall portfolio because these stocks are the ones weighing my portfolio and my total trading account down. Does that make sense? I can come over here at the top. I also have up here where I can see here is where my budgeted return is. So based on all the stocks that I have and how long I've been in these trades, on average, my position, my portfolio, my overall portfolio based on these stocks that I have in my portfolio should be up 10% as of now, since the time I started buying these. However, right now, it's overperforming, which is good. We want it to be doing well, and that's because of these stocks right here that are doing really well. But at the same time, it could be doing better if I would get rid of these ones that are hurting the portfolio. And so net, I'm overperforming by 17%, which is great. But ladies and gentlemen, notice how it had nothing to do with the news. I can literally get anybody to come in here and say, manage my portfolio for me. And they can come in here and say, look, get rid of this. And this is how we were able to get rid of the emotions and the psychological aspect of things. This is why anybody who knows when I say I don't pay attention to news, you don't have to tell me about a stock that's done this or done that. I don't need to know, because only thing I need to know is what my portfolio is supposed to be doing. Okay. So is this tracker linked to the platform? Not necessarily, but you get it as part of, being able to have the platform. Oops, what did I just do? Okay. What did I do here? Okay, I clicked on something. I hope I didn't do it. Can everybody still hear me? Because I clicked on something I wasn't supposed to click on.
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Okay.
No problem.
All right, thank you. Sorry about that.
If you maybe you just hit the undo, Control Z, and it'll fix it.
Okay.
That's what I always do.
You said click undo.
Undo.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, I'm not sure what you clicked on, but
Yeah, well, it's all good. I mean, as long as you guys can hear me, that's the most important thing.
I think
So,
there's a rollback feature too to fix, to go back to.
no worries, no worries.
Yep. Anyway.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you for that. Okay. So I hope that you guys are seeing where I'm coming from as far as like taking away the emotions. Again, I literally only reserve this for people who go through my 6-week coaching program. I don't share this with other people, but this is the first time that I'm sharing this live publicly with anybody. I mean, I've been using this for years, and this is how people's like, how are you so calm when the market is so volatile? And I said, well, because again, I've already done what I needed to do. And one last thing with this tracker here is every week, I like to trade on the weekly time frame. So every week, I just go back and say, what is my right model telling me to do? So in this case, when it says get in short or get out, so I know even though I'm up 104% on a trade like this, I still need to go in there and ensure my position. Okay. And that's kind of like what I see going on. If it tells me long stop exit shorts, or if it tells me buy cover, wait and hold, I know what to do with each and every one of these stocks every single day, every single week, every single month. The only thing you have to do is if you are a day trader or you trade on a daily time frame, you just look to see what the right model tells you on the daily chart. So let me show you an example. Let's say we went over here on the daily chart as of yesterday. What is it telling us to do? Okay, get insured or get out. Now, this is a bearish section, right? So this is all bearish. And so what this is telling us, like, if you bearish, make sure you insure yourself. And the only thing we do to insure ourselves is make sure we place the stop at the high right here. Okay, and that's because this started heading higher yesterday, right? So it's a look, place a stop here so that if it stops you out, you out. If you want to get out, take your profits and walk away. And that's what it means when it says get insured or get out. So if you're happy with the profits that you made and you want to get out, just get out. Me personally, every time it tells me to get insured or get out, I just go ahead and place a stop. That's what we mean by getting insured. Okay. And then today, would you have been stopped out? The answer is no. And this is how we're able to allow stocks to keep on growing. We're able to get out before things get too volatile and so on and so forth. Okay. So again, there's a lot more that I can share with you, but unfortunately, time is against us. So here's what I want to do. Let me do this. We shared with you guys this part. So how does the, Jim is asking, how does the tracker and spreadsheet update in real time? Do you connect it through your personal brokerage platform? No, these are all by itself, okay? So it's all web-based, all web-based. Everything is web-based. So all you have to do is just go to the website and you just do it from there, okay? So once you join us, you have access to it, you just log in anytime you want, you go to the platform and you can do this on your own. Does that make sense? So I am inviting you guys to my 6-week training program. I believe that in order to really understand the market, one weekend thing is not going to be enough. And so one of the things I do is I say, look, if you really want to understand how to invest in the market, spend 6 weeks. Okay. What happens in that 6 weeks? You will see volatile markets, you will see dead markets, you will see bullish markets, and you'll see bearish markets on any time frame. And that's one of the reasons I said, let's go through this for 6 weeks. We do this every Saturday morning for 6 weeks. And in those 6 weeks, we address everything that's happening in real time. Everything that's happening in real life. So our next one starts June 4th. I want to invite you guys to come out to there, okay? In there, you'll see, I mean, these are other people's, what they've, people who have actually attended this. One of the guys, the most recent one, actually two sessions ago that we did, this guy said, man, this has been an excellent 6 weeks with you, Wally. And this was probably by far the best compliment I've ever had. It says, this course is like the holy grail of investing in the stock market. This lady said, my mind is blown away. It's just how phenomenal this whole thing is, because they're beginning to see, it's like, wait a second, you mean to tell me I can see the market for myself without having anybody tell me what to do? One of the things we're going to cover in the 6 weeks is how to spot when a market or stock is about to crash before it actually starts crashing. Keep in mind, everything we do here is we're right side traders. So we don't want to see things in hindsight. We want to be able to capture things before it happens. That's how we were able to see that the market was getting ready to drop in January of 2020. That's how we'd be able to see that the market was getting ready to do something in January of this year, okay? So all that started for me because I was one of those guys that wanted to make sure that I never got caught off guard with a bear market again. And if anybody knows this company, this is a company that used to be called Valiant Pharmaceutical. Okay. Back in 2015, they dropped tremendous. A lot of these cryptocurrencies that dropped, I promise you, there were warning signs before. We talked about it in January, but people were just not aware of what it was. And so we have been able to see huge crashes, the warning signs way before it actually happens, and be able to avoid it. Companies like Lehman Brothers that went out of bankruptcy, right? Back in 2008, guess what? The same warning signs were there. And so if you learn to see these warning signs, which is what we teach in our 6-week coaching program, you get to start seeing stocks that is like, oh my goodness. So this is why, again, we saw that in cryptocurrency. And it's like, my goodness, it's happening everywhere. It was happening in Amazon. It was happening in the market. I was like, wait a second, something is not right here, ladies and gentlemen. This is looking really bad. And so that's like, people won't believe us by the time they start seeing it 5 months later, 9 months later. And that's one of the reasons why I documented that. And I said, look, even though nobody's believing us now, they will get to see this in the future, right? And kudos to all the people, not actually all, a good number of people who were ridiculing me when I was telling them about this back in January, came back and said, you know what? You were right. You were right. And I said, thank you for at least admitting that, okay? Lehman Brothers or Bear Stearns, you know, companies like this, if you want to learn how to stay away from this or see this about to happen, this is what we teach in our 6-week program. What else do you need? Well, one of the things that we also teach is how to invest in IPO stocks that would double, triple, quadruple or more in price, okay? We've kept this a secret. We used to teach this in the beginning when we first started in 2015, 2016. Then it became so good that we said, you know what? We're not going to share this anymore. And the only people who will share this with are people who actually come to our coaching program. I'm making this available to you guys now as well. Say, come join our coaching program, come join our 6-week training program. We'll show you how to see this. I had a guy that literally wrote something negative about me. The only negative things we ever had on social media. A guy came and was like, he saw us talking about this. And he came out and was like, man, there's no way you guys can do this. You guys are all fake and scam, right? And he wrote this whole report without contacting me, without saying anything about it, saying anything to me. He just wrote it. And then he came out and he said, hey, tell me, show me proof or else I'm not going to take this stuff down. And I'm like, so first you're going to write something negative and then now you want to blackmail me, right? And I said, you know what? Thank you, but no thank you. Matter of fact, you do me a favor because anybody who doesn't believe it, like you don't believe it, should not be following us. So you're helping us get rid of people who don't believe in technical analysis. But we have done this over and over and over. My very first one I traded was Ferrari, where we've seen IPO stocks because my thing was I hated this notion of people saying, hey, if you had bought Amazon 1997, look at how much money you have today, right? I hated that notion. I said, why didn't you tell me when it was happening? Which ones should we be buying now that are going to do well 10 years, 20 years from now, right? And so I went back and I did a whole study on IPO stocks and I discovered something that till today, I don't think anybody, I've not seen a single person share how you can pick which IPO stocks are going to do well from the ones that are not. Thank you, John. I appreciate that, right? And so we have been doing this over and over and over. We love IPOs because these are the ones that work, right? And we teach you how to do this. That's one of the things we teach in week 4 of our 6-week coaching program. Stocks like this that just, I mean, look at how $12 to $100 now. I mean, over and over. The beauty of this is like people who've taken our course were able to apply this to cryptocurrencies and made massive amount. I never traded cryptocurrencies for so many different reasons, but students of ours who understood this concept, applied it to cryptocurrency, were like literally texting me every day. Man, Wally, you can't believe this, man. Look, I'm up 1,000%. It's like, I can't believe this. This is like stealing candy from a kid and stuff like that. But at the same time, you also want to stay away from the ones that are never going to make it. And so not all IPOs are created the same. And we have figured out how to see that. A lot of people will tell you IPOs are risky. We've taken the risk out of it by understanding which ones move, which one doesn't, simply for one reason, not because we listened to the news, not because we knew anything about the company, but the data that tells you, yes, the stock is ready to go higher. So Lyft is another company that didn't do so well. We were telling people, I have a story to share. Well, you know what? Let me not share that story because I'm running out of time. But needless to say, you can learn how to tell which IPOs are going to do well from the ones which are not going to do well. We teach that in the 6-week coaching program as well. So here's what you'll be able to get. Guessing, you don't have to worry about it anymore. You'll be able to get rid of fear. I don't fear the market anymore. No more hindsight training. Oh, I wish I could have done this. The fear of Fed uncertainty. You know, people ask me all the time. So I don't even pay attention to what the Fed says anymore. I'll be honest. Now, some people don't like that. Some people, I've seen some people like, look, I can't trust anybody who doesn't listen to the Fed. I said, look, that's fine. But I can show you over and over, even before the Feds came out, we saw that the market was ready to drop. So everything the Feds are saying here and there, maybe it has a 1-day effect, 2-day effect, a week at the most, but it's still going in the same direction that we saw all along. So fear of bear markets, worrying about a recession, wondering when to sell, staying in trades too long, regretting that you sold too early, worrying about having a small account, worried about the algos and how the market's manipulated and all that stuff. You don't have to worry about that if you understand what information to read. Here's what this one person said. I can look at any stock now and I feel very confident about what I should be doing or should not be doing, especially with my position size and the peace of mind I now have. I'm not afraid anymore. These are what people are saying out there. I have had, this is another guy that took the 6-week coaching course. I have had an enlightening many months with you, Wally. I am now confident. Can you imagine that? The confidence. Now, one of our logos is trading on the right side with confidence. I am now confident to continue with all the lessons I have done by myself. That is what I want to equip people with, because I'm seeing so many people suffering in this market. People are out there searching for information left and right. You can put a stop to all that if you understand this. Here is our program outline. First week, we talk about the foundation of navigating the market successfully. I go into some formulas and models that you can see very easily. Anybody can apply this. You'll be able to see that. Second thing, which is perhaps the most important aspect of it all, learning to tell when the market is bottom. See, one of the things that's happening is a lot of people like to talk about a bubble, but very rarely do you hear them talk about the bottom. Okay. And right now, a lot of people are guessing where the bottom is. I will show you one indicator, literally just one indicator that guarantees to tell you when we've hit bottom or not. Okay. We apply this to even looking at some of the companies that Warren Buffett bought, and we were blown away. I'm not saying this is what Warren Buffett is using, but I found it very interesting that I can go back and look at when Warren Buffett bought a lot of his very, well-known investments, and you'll find that it was at the bottom. It's like, how was this possible? Learning to buy low and when to sell high. Market cycles, just talk about, it's not coincidence that we picked the top of 2020. It's not coincidence that we saw the top. It's not coincidence that we saw the top of so many different stocks and the bottoms of them. You learn to see that in week 4. Week 5, we talk about IPOs, like I mentioned. Week 6, we talk about growing your portfolio using that. Here is the price that we charge our coaching students. Prior to today, this is why I say I'm going to do something I've never, ever done before. I always felt like, look, it is worth $10,000. Anybody that's not willing to pay it, they can go lose their money in the market on their own. But if you want to learn how to avoid this, I say you have to pay me $10,000. Today, simply because I realized 2 things. 1, a lot of people are hurting. A lot of people are hurting. And 2, because I really like what Anka and David did as far as like, look, let's talk about the discipline. Let's not talk about strategies. Let's talk about discipline. Let's talk about the psychological aspect, perhaps the part of the stock market that most people never talk about. I was like, you know what? This is a perfect time to help people get through this challenge. Okay. And so for that, we're reducing the price to $1,500. Now, the only catch to that is you got to do it before this weekend is over. Okay. I understand we have people speaking today, tomorrow, Thursday, but grab it while you can. By Friday, we're not offering it at $1,500 anymore. Please take it. If you're concerned that you don't have enough money to get this, we have payment plans, installment plans where you can pay over the next 3 months to get this. Okay. We even offer you discounts if you're willing to pay it off a little faster. So please And if you still have issues with that, contact us, let us know, but do not let this pass you by. I promise you what you're going to learn in 6 weeks, just like you've seen all these testimonies of all these other people out there, you'll find that, man, by the time you're done, you almost need nothing else. And that's one of the biggest things we want. I said, I want it to be where by the time you're done with us, you don't even need us anymore. You can do this on your own. I don't listen to the news. I don't subscribe to any articles. I don't do any of that stuff because I've got so good at understanding what the market says. I don't need anybody's interpretation of the market. And I have been right more than most people. Okay, here's what another person said. Thank you so much for all the information you shared. I enjoy listening and learning from your knowledge. Everything you said was on point. Really enjoyed it. Thank you. I'm going to give you some bonuses as well. This is why I'm saying, guys, take advantage of this. In my studies of candlestick analysis, I've realized that there's really 7. I have 6 up here, but there's 7. Okay, I will give you my cheat sheet for all those of you guys who sign up. There's only 7 candlesticks you will ever need, ever. And I'm willing to back that up. There's only 7 candlestick signals you will ever need to know anything that is happening to any stock, any market, including cryptos and Forex. 7. Okay. I will give you that cheat sheet so you can know what those 7s are and start using those cheat sheets going forward. Okay. Also, I'm just skip through a lot of these, so many testimonials. Also, I'm going to do this. Volatility. That's something that a lot of people are dealing with right now. Okay, so I have decided, I said, look, I'm going to give you my video I created on my research and study on volatility. I have been able to see when VIX is ready to spike before it spikes. I've been able to see when VIX is going to top out before it tops out. If you don't believe me, get this. Okay, get this and see for yourself. All right, we have been able to pick tops and bottoms because we understood what the VIX was doing. I literally studied VIX because volatility was one of the biggest issues that we have. And so I said, I don't want volatility to stop me ever again. I will give you this, okay, in addition, because again, so much volatility is taking place right now. People are like, how do we deal with this volatility? How would you like to know when, yes, the VIX is actually calming down, it's safe to get in, and when it's ready to spike so you can get back out? Okay, this is what one person says, look, if I understand the VIX video that I'm giving you guys right now, you guys will get the exact same video. The day this guy bought this, the very next day says, we should be seeing a downturn in the VIX, which would indicate that the market is ready to rise. At the time that this gentleman was seeing this is what the market was doing back then. Look at this, all the way down here. So on this day right here with this green dot right here, that was the day he literally, you can see at 9:50 in the morning, say, wait a second, Wally, I just watched what you said about how to tell when the VIX is bottomed and is ready to go back up. It's like, so if I understand this means that the market is getting ready to rally. The VIX is about to top out. The market is ready to rally. And I was like, yep, that's exactly what it is. And then look at what happened from that point on. This is the result of what he saw. How was he able to see that the bottom has been put in down here, right? That led to this. And again, let me show you, he did this on December 26, 2018, day after Christmas when market bottomed, simply by watching the video literally the day prior. He said, wait a second, everything you just said there is now beginning to happen. Could this be? And I told him, I say, yep, you see it right. And the next thing we know, market rallies. Okay, so let me just fast forward because my time is up. You'll also get access to the platform as well. You get access to the tracker and all that kind of stuff. So again, $1,500, go to this page. And here's what I'm going to do too. For those of you guys in the next 24 hours, if you choose to take advantage of this, just for the next 24 hours, I'll drop it down to $997. One-time payment, $997. Go to this page, ladies and gentlemen. I promise you, spending $1,000 for your education. If you've lost more than $1,000 in the last 5 years of trading, you owe it to yourself to just take it. Just learn. You never have to worry about the news again. You can see how to do this on your own. I give you everything. This is, like I said, the only time I've ever done this ever. Okay, I'm giving it to you guys. Take advantage of it. Does this program include the trackers you showed? Yes, it does. And the platform. You get the platform for 6 months at no cost whatsoever. Okay. After that, we'll give you, a special for having the platform, like $97 a month if you want to keep it. Okay. But the key thing is that 6 weeks, you will learn so much. You'll be able to do it on your own, just like those people have said. Saturday classes are recorded. So if you miss any, every single one of them is recorded. You will get the recording of them. If you can't attend live, you will get the recording. And then you have access to email me anytime you want. I would answer any question, because in this 6 weeks, this is where I cover everything. I don't hold anything back. I show everybody everything. And I'm doing this for you guys to help people. For $1,000, I'm taking a huge pay cut to help people do this. Do I send out email alerts? I do it through my right side report, which you also get every week. I write a report. In that report, I show you the session is about 2 hours long. So it goes from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock Eastern time. Okay. So get it, guys. I promise you, you would get your money's worth 1,000-fold, maybe even 10,000-fold. All right. I want to wish you guys well. If you have any questions, contact us, but my time is up. Let me turn it back over to David, Anka. God bless you guys. I love you guys. Thank you for having me on. I'm turning it back over to David.